What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Sorcerer Supreme's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the second half of the Doctor Strange wave of Marvel Legends. So let's just get started. So first up is Iron Fist, and accessory-wise, he comes with these things, which are like translucent yellow plastic to a red to an orange to kind of maybe a light red, or it might just be a deeper orange. And then he has these two translucent kind of yellow hands. Come on. And then the more signature wrist wrapped hand. But these pegs are like warped and deformed. But there. So you can get a hint of that. He comes with two fists, either way you want to do it. This is the Spider-Man body, obviously. Head sculpt, very nice. Looks good. Black paint looks good. It's on a ball hinge. You get up to there, down to there in the swivel, and then you got these bits. They're not on anything that articulates, so it just is what it is, softer plastic. Symbol looks perfect on the chest. Looks very good. Butterfly joint, as we're used to seeing, back to here, forward to there, so great range. My problem with this sculpt is that the collarbone kind of sits a bit off the shoulders. It's just off-putting to me. Ab crunch back, one click, 2 clicks forward. Yeah, 2 clicks forward. Waist swivel's intact. It's pretty much just this green plastic with the exception of these wraps, which are washed. Sculpted and washed. And then we have the wrists in and out and swivel. Same for this side, and there's no swivel on the power-up hands. I should note that. The other fist is also in out and does have the same wash. Floating yellow belt, which looks cheesy, but it does the trick. T-jointed ball joints for hips, but the cut should be longer there. If you see, it should come to about there to allow for a wider range because it is a very limited range. Forward and back is fine. Thigh swivel on both sides works fine. Double jointed knee works fine on both sides. And then ankle tilt. These are tight. Up, back, and the rocker is built in. So all that works fairly well. This is like a kind of no frills kind of figure, but still does a good job of sort of embodying the character. Next we have Doctor Strange and the pearlescent Doctor Strange. And look, just being honest, this to me is the ultimate kind of scumbaggy release to do and make them both necessary purchases. So they're just remolds of one another. We're going to talk about the pearlescent one real quick. He comes with the necklace. You can put it on him. The eyes are painted white, and the rest is this pearlescent sculpt of the other bit of business. There's no fear of breaking like a translucent or anything. It's just is what it is. And then we have the kind of finished mold. So accessory-wise, he comes with 2 posing hands, which is nice, and then 2 holding hands. Only 1 accessory, but because of the posing hands, it's fine. Good choice. This accessory is kind of super cool. It has this, it's a translucent kind of orange. He holds it, so it's not perfect in that regard, but it doesn't bother me because it still works. Like when he's holding it, it still looks like he's kind of like, you know, doing one of those. I like it. I like it a lot. It's got this paint. I don't know if they did that in a dry brushing. I would expect that they did, but it looks good. Now, I'm not crazy about the movie-verse figures anyway from Marvel, but from Hasbro, but that's a good face sculpt right there. It is. Like, I have no interest in this figure. I got it purely for the Build-A-Figure, but I will not deny that's a good face sculpt. Little wash on there, some customizing. It should look just like Mr. Benedict himself. He comes with this cape. Softer plastic, fits him fairly well, much better than most of the other ones we've seen in this line, but wait till we get to Dormammu, you'll see the major issues I have. And then he comes with the necklace as well, black with gold paint and brown paint. They painted the little straps. That's a nice touch, not something I necessarily would expect from Hasbro, and that's a nice touch. The head is on a ball hinge, so you get up to there, down to there. We have the paint on the hair on the sides. And it's like kind of faded. I'm not exactly, like it almost looks like it was airbrushed, but I know that's probably not the case. But it looks good nonetheless. Eyes are painted well, eyebrows are painted well, goatee is painted well. It's not a goatee, it's something else I keep forgetting. and the hair is sculpted extremely well. So you get down to there, up to there, and then the swivel. Waist is on a ball joint, but it's great motion, and it's not really limited by anything. And because this floating piece of plastic is so wide, it hides any sculpt breakup. So that's actually pretty smart and works really well. The kind of tunic itself for these robes is a light blue, and then it's washed with a dark blue, and that also looks really good. And then the sculpt on the undershirt is all done well as well, and painted well. For the arms, they're on ball hinges, or disc hinges rather. They get you up to 90 degrees, and then the swivel is there. It gets a little tight around the upper part of the robes here, but it works. Nice sculpting on all the wrinkles and so forth. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, that works fine. All the brown is painted nice and sharp around the wristbands, and then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge in and out. Same on this side. T-jointed ball joints for hips, but because of this floating piece of plastic that we've kind of been having as a common complaint with this line, it only gets you out to there, forward and back to about there. Nice sculpting on the pants though, really nice sculpt work. And then thigh swivel. Double jointed knee, but you don't get anything really out of it unless you move it into the middle of the tunic, or the robes rather, and then all the brown and gold are painted, but the gold is all over the place. Let me see if I can't zoom in on that for you. I mean, it's just like they threw darts at the table. Like maybe it hits the button, maybe it doesn't. You know, like I wonder if it was like a little game they played in the office. Here comes the paint, Johnny. You literally missed the entire thing. We didn't finish the brown paint there on the little, kind of bandages or ribbons, whatever you want to call it. Boot swivel or shin swivel or calf swivel, however you want to call it. Nice sculpting on the boot. Ankle tilt up, down, and rocker. So that's all okay. And nice sculpt work. They could have painted that buckle though, like they did on Nico, and that would have been a nice touch. But all in all, this is a pretty well-made figure, even if I have no interest really in having him. For Enchantress, it's the same as the STCC, so I'm not going to review the figure. If you want to know my views on the figure, you can look at the STCC. I'm going to compare them just in terms of what is different. So they both have the same type of hair, but this one has a heavier wash, and I think I like the look of this better. However, I would admit that this is more accurate to the character on the SDCC one. SDCC has the chrome green for the headpiece and the gloves, whereas the chrome green is really only used for the upper glove of the regular release, and then the bottom glove is not the chrome finish, and it just looks weird. It's a lighter shade of green on the SDCC body, darker here, lighter skirt, darker skirt. The circles are relatively similar. However, I think I might like the regular release circles better. It just looks like it matches a bit more. These always looked a little too like a vibrant forest green for me. One thing I did want to mention is, like, here's the regular release and the leg is bowed out, and here is the SDCC release and the leg is bowed out. So that might be an issue beyond packaging. That might be a mold issue. I don't know. And let's see, the faces. So we'll put on, since we've got to be consistent here. Let me zoom in so you guys can get a better look. So they have the same sort of paint applied. The SDCC one has a lighter green. It's lighter, but it's also kind of more vibrant, whereas this is much more dull on the regular release. The eye paint is much more sharp on the SDCC than the regular release, and the lip paint has a gloss on it, which the regular release doesn't. So a number of differences, but given the price point, I'm not sure that one is ultimately more worth it than the other when you start taking into account. It's a different skin tone too, which is interesting. But like when you start taking into account, like if whether or not, Dormammu is really the wild card here. So if you need Dormammu and you don't have this one, then this is a no-brainer in my opinion. If you do have this one and you need Dormammu, that's when you need to start making decisions. But hopefully we'll talk about that a bit more when we get to Dormammu, which should be Saturday. That's my intention anyway. And then the yellow belt, which I do maybe like over the green belt. And then she comes with these as well, but it's a lighter shade of green. Let me see if I can't find it for you. There. So that's the lighter one, and that's the darker one. So it's really they're purely cosmetic differences. I prefer the SDCC one, but there's nothing wrong with this one in comparison. Final thoughts wise, we got a little bit more of that soft plastic bit jamming up articulation on the Doctor Strange figures, but that's about it. The Doctor Strange figure himself is really well done, and then the pearlescent one is definitely a money grab and seems very cheesy and just cheap, you know, and just greedy. It feels greedy. The Iron Fist figure is cool. Is he good enough to replace your other Iron Fist figure? You know, it's the classic costume, so probably. You know, the accessories are cool on him. There's no real negatives to say about him other than the limited articulation that they need to sort out. The Enchantress is cool. She's not as good as the SDCC one. However, if you don't have the SDCC one and you don't have Dormammu, then it definitely makes sense to get her over that, because the improvements on the SDCC one are minuscule in comparison to the price point. You know, it's just a finish sort of a thing. It's not necessarily something that you even really recognize on a shelf. It's just more of a peace of mind. So yeah, if you're into the movie stuff, I highly recommend Strange. If you're into the comics, I highly recommend Iron Fist and Enchantress, unless you already have a better one. Hope that makes sense. And we'll find out if Dormammu is worth it Saturday, I believe. We got a little something from a galaxy far, far away coming Friday. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.